guys, welcome back to the Real Southern Garden. I'm Sarah, and today I'm taking you on a small space garden tour that I just know you guys are going to love. There are so many ideas that you can get from this garden, whether you garden on a large residential lot, a small one, or you have acres like I do. For me, the magic of gardening is all about setting up little garden rooms that have their own personality and just kind of block out the outside world. And that is exactly what these gardeners, Tina and Dan, have done in their backyard. Now, they were part of the Keep Smyrna Beautiful garden tour this year, and I actually missed it because it was just so rainy that day. They still held the tour, of course, but I was unable to make it. And I'm so thankful that they invited me to come back and do a private garden tour so that I could share it with all of you and, of course, see it myself. And to be honest, I think that we got to see it at probably the best time because everything has really grown in and just taken off with all the rain that we have had here in the greater Atlanta area. So you guys are going to really enjoy this. I know that you are. Leave me a comment. Let me know what your favorite part of their garden is. I always love talking to you guys in the comments. And I, of course, shot this part of the video second, so I've already seen the garden. But anyway, let's get into this video and let's head over there now. I am here with Dan and Tina, and we're going to check out their beautiful garden today, and you guys are in for a treat. It is spectacular, a small space garden that's going to give you tons of inspiration. So tell me when you guys started this garden.
We started this garden in 2020 mainly as a COVID relief project for ourselves. And since then, really every year we've kind of added on more, added a different section as we've gotten more confidence really to try to take on more and realize that we're not sacrificing space that was really doing nothing but being grass. And honestly, I'm kind of at the point now where I really just want to use up every square inch of our grass to try to do a separate planting.
Yeah, I mean, take out the grass.
Yeah.
We don't need grass.
Yeah, no.
There's no reason.
The grass is there to be paths and to set off the flowers, basically. Yeah.
And
No.
you do all of this with no chemicals too. They don't
Correct.
use anything. So I always love when people can pull that off. It's pretty cool.
No, because the garden is as much for the dogs as it is for us, and so we don't want anything back there that could possibly hurt them or the pollinators or anyone else. So.
Yeah.
And so who's this little guy right here?
This is Clementine.
Clementine.
And honestly, the backyard in particular is really her domain. She sits out there a lot, and she sits inside and watches the birds, sits outside and watches the birds, and likes to chase things. And
Well, Clementine's pretty lucky because she's got a really nice piece of land to call home, don't ya? Yeah. Well, let's go check it out. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's
definitely.
go. So here we go, starting off at the very front of the house. I want you guys to get a good picture of how they have everything laid out and how the layering looks so amazing here. So as you head up to the front door, they have this beautiful planter. I love the way the white really shows up in front of their color brick with a canna lily in there, and then a foxtail fern tucked in the back with a little bench that was actually handmade by Dan himself. I just love that. Anything handmade, I think, is just so much more special. A little welcome sign with some hummingbirds, and then the shrubs, the large shrubs that you're seeing right there, loropetalum, I believe, those were actually planted in 2014 before they moved in, so they're pretty big. Tina let me know that those were original to the property, but basically everything else, with the exception of one little tree that I'm going to show you in a second, they have done themselves and they have put in themselves. So they have really created all of this together and through the last 5 years. Then as we pan down, now Tina did have a rhododendron that she has just put in. You'll see this right here. Unfortunately, I think the rain that we have had really got to this little guy because it was brand new this season. But other than this plant, everything else has loved the rain and is just doing really, really well. So it just kind of goes to show as gardeners, we all have plants that sometimes just don't behave. Anyway, she can pop that out and put something else there. There's a clematis over on the right that is going up that little hummingbird sign. She's got some beautiful little hellebores, which of course are not blooming right now, but are so great for the winter. And then she's got creeping Jenny down at the bottom. And then some knockout roses and some limelight hydrangeas stacked right there behind them. And I just love the privacy and all of the different color that they have, the way they've layered everything. She has a beautiful lavender rose right there and a pink, not a pink one, a yellow one. We're not exactly sure what varieties those are, but they're all looking very black spot free, which is quite the testament to that rose, to all of those roses, because like I said, we have had so much rain this season. And then they have some allium planted right here. You're seeing it kind of in the bottom right corner, and the rain has kind of, worn those out a little bit, but they still look really great with just the structure. I love how they have the little, you can still see the little globe structure, and they're really pretty. Then of course there is some iris. There's 2 beautiful iris right there in the middle. They're not blooming right now, but I still love the leaves and how those really set off this little garden with the pathway that goes right between them. And then they have an engraved stone here on this little pathway that actually celebrates their being on the Smyrna Garden Tour in 2025. And of course, that is one of the garden tours I missed this year because of the insane amount of rain. You guys keep hearing me talk about the rain, but it really has been wild in the greater Atlanta area. And I'm so happy that they had us back today so that we could tour the garden and I could share it with all of you. And there is a better look of the little stone that they have that's engraved, the little stepping stone. And Creeping Jenny is such a great ground cover. It looks so nice. It really reduces the amount of mulch that you have to have in your garden beds. And then we have some agapanthus coming up here. Look how nice that purple is, kind of like a light purple white. And then of course the limelight hydrangeas. They are loving this weather. I mean, my hydrangeas actually are kind of bent over, but theirs, I should say, because this is Dan and Tina's garden. Theirs are looking really fabulous. So one of the features that I really just love about this garden is all of the different bird baths, bird houses, bird feeders that they have for birds. When you get back to the backyard and I take you back there, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's so special and it's so neat. It adds so much character to the garden, obviously brings wildlife into the garden. And I just think that it is so darling what they've done, especially the different birdhouses, how they're painted and the little architecture on them is just really sweet. Now there are 2 stones here that they've got. I think that these add a lot of design and appeal to the front garden as well. And it's amazing what just 2 stones like that, 2 boulders, can really do for a garden. I love the Japanese maple also that they have on the kind of the left side of your screen. That color really just lightens everything and adds such a brilliance to the front garden. And this particular Japanese maple is actually called a coral bark because the bark on it is red. So after the growing season, it really has a interesting look with just the red bark. And they said that it doesn't seem to lose all of its leaves. So it retains some of the foliage. And of course, that beautiful red bark also shows through. And then as we wind around, they have this is another knockout rose here on the back side. And knockout roses are fabulous for especially landscape uses in areas where you want color throughout the season and you don't want a lot of fuss. I am a big fan of garden roses. I'm also a fan of knockout roses too. So I've said it before, but I just gotta say it again, that their property is such a fantastic example of what you can achieve in a small space with a small space garden. I mean, the textures, the layering, the colors, the way that they have created, they have different levels of shrubs and trees, and you can really just see how it's like a little oasis that blocks out the world beyond this garden. So you can come home from work, leave whatever is going on in the world out there behind, and just settle into your own little paradise. Now, when we get to the backyard, you're really gonna see what I mean. So this little piece right here of the garden is their newest addition, and they just added this with a lot of different succulents. And Tina said they were struggling a little bit this year because of all the rain, once again, that we have had here in the greater Atlanta area. And now we're going to take a look at the right side of the front garden, and there are some hostas there planted at the bottom. And Tina and I were talking about the fact that, you know, hostas we think of them as a shade plant, but they actually do pretty well in full sun locations in a lot of gardens. So right here, they are getting a ton of sun and they are doing fantastic. And then on the right side, there is a limelight hydrangea. And on the left side, that is a yew that you are looking at. And then there's a nice little container in the middle tucked in here. And then behind that, there is another container that's got some really vibrant coleus in it. And there's a better shot of it coming up right here. We just got to pull back that limelight a little bit. And then there is another sweet little bird bath tucked in here too. And I think it's perfect. I also really like the pavers that they have in the lawn, and how they take you, back to the back garden and just lead the way. Before we head to the back garden, we're going to take a look at these planters. These are actually all planters put together, and then the impatiens are planted in the ground. And they have the same color impatiens that I chose this year, the white and kind of that orangey red. And then the caladiums are just looking fantastic with the fern. This is such a nice little spot. Okay, and then to the backyard we go through the garden gate, and they've got some nice gravel down here with some pavers. I really like the look of this together alongside the brick. Just gorgeous colors that blend so well. And then up here on the right, she has, or I should say they, but Tina usually grows most of these, the little starter plants from seed. These are her greenhouses. She's got one on this side and then two on the opposite wall. And they just work so great. And then as you come around the corner here, this is my favorite spot in the garden. And I love all of their garden, but of course you see this beautiful arbor, which we're going to talk about that again here in a second. But as you turn to the right, they have this gorgeous little fountain. They actually got it at Pike's Nursery, which is a chain that's here kind of in the southeast. I actually bought my fountain there too. And I love this fountain. And then on each side, they have this gorgeous garden art. And this is made to be outdoors. This has actually been painted. So it was a piece of a church steeple in New Orleans. They were slate tiles from the steeple and they were painted on. And it is the just coolest little company called Courtyard Arts. And I'm going to link the information under my description if you're interested. I love what the company does. Obviously the art is gorgeous, but then the story behind it, where it came from, I can't wait to add some to my garden. It is really special. And then on the right side, you're looking at a variegated dogwood. And I was surprised. I did not know that was what that is. They have several containers here, and I really like the way they set off this little fountain area and give some different height to the plants back here. And of course, when you walk out their patio, your eye is drawn to that fountain to the right. So it's a great placement. And then to your left, as you leave the fountain, they have this arbor. They've got jasmine on one side, and I believe she said climbing hydrangea on the right side that really got nipped by the freeze. And then some really tall zinnias here that are looking fabulous. I just think that they look so nice against this backdrop. And there's also some cosmos intermingled in here with some creeping Jenny down at the bottom for underplanting. And then on your left side, you're looking at some asters. And this is a kind of a shorter aster. There's so many different types of asters. They look so fantastic here as a border. A really neat piece of garden art there to the right. And then you just go through this little arbor and it takes you alongside the back border. And Tina and Dan also have some brick that is down here. They have lots of different hardscaping in their garden, just different textures, and it really gives the garden so much artistic structure, in my opinion, to really plant the plants around. And you can see you can really do it with just a few different elements. And then here are the birdhouses that I absolutely am in love with. They're all different and they are all adorable. And it's funny because Tina said that the birds, of course, their favorite place to nest is just the regular little birdhouse that isn't all fancy. I have heard that before from people, so I'm not sure if it has to do with the exact dimensions, or probably there might be like a small dimension that's off on the cute birdhouses. But anyway, here is a pincushion flower down here. I love the color on that and the way the flower looked. And I haven't grown pincushion myself, but I need to. And then I really like the screen that she has back here. It serves as kind of a trellis for the jasmine that she has up here. And her jasmine actually continues to bloom through the summer. You know, usually it's star jasmine. You think of it as blooming in the spring, but she said it just continues to bloom for her. So I did have a variety of jasmine in my garden. I think I need to add some more. Mine did get nipped in a freeze, but it must have just been the wrong kind. We're gonna have to try it again because there is nothing like that sweet smell of jasmine. And then we're going to continue on along this border. There's a Japanese maple coming up on the left, and I'll swing around in a little bit and you'll get to see that better. But we're going to take another look down here at the border of the impatiens. And then we've got some, oh, there comes our little dog friend. Their dogs, Clementine and Humphrey, are so sweet. I just loved getting to meet them too. Then we've got some Shasta daisies. Look how gorgeous the Shasta daisies are. What an incredible height. They are so bright and so happy. I've got a packet of seeds of Shasta daisies I need to try one of these years before they go bad. For some reason, I keep forgetting to plant them, but this is my inspiration. Look at how great those look. I'm loving it. And this little dog is Humphrey. He is the king of the garden. And so he was really, really a lot of fun to have out. You can tell how much that these little guys love their garden space. And they make the garden too. Their little personalities are just adorable. And then she's got, I would say she, but it's Dan and Tina together. They've got some Mandevilla here. And she says she replants it every year because it doesn't winter over for her here in the greater Atlanta area. Which I know myself that it won't do that. When I lived in Houston as a child, of course, it just kept on going year to year. But look at the color and look at what a fantastic plant this is. I would say it is worth replanting every year for sure. And their hanging baskets are really just, the color, you know, blends in so well with everything else, and with the, what is it called? Not the cocoa fir, but the fiber, the cocoa fiber, you know, the natural look of those hanging baskets. I think that they are perfect in this garden and obviously reusable year to year. Really like what they did there too. And then down here at the bottom, we're not exactly sure if they're arborvitae or false cypress, but whatever the case, they are beautiful little shrubs and they don't have to worry about deer back here. So that is another perk to having a small space garden that you can fence in easily. You don't have to worry about deer eating your arborvitae. And that little flower there that I was just touching with that nice structure is bergamot. So that's what that is. And then look at this other arbor here with this little door. This actually leads out to a little strip of land that the HOA owns. Nobody can, you know, live on it or do anything to it. And it gives them an extra little piece of serenity back there where there's a lot of birds that hang out. I think she put some of her extra seedlings back there sometimes. And then they have a nice backdrop of trees. So that is really, really great to have that. And also take a look at the lighting that they have. Obviously, we're not here at night, but you can imagine how darling this all is lit up at night, you know, in this little garden, enjoying your beverage on that back patio. Super, super cool. Here is another one of the Japanese maples coming up here on the left. And then in the corner, this is a weeping cherry. And of course, in the springtime, you know, you can imagine how beautiful it looks. And Tina says it's just out of this world. I am really getting into having plants that I know are kind of put on a big show seasonally. And I look forward to, you know, when they do their thing. So that would definitely be one of those plants. Down here at the bottom, I'm really liking the stone that they chose, and I like the joints with the gravel. I think that looks super cool. And once again, we're not exactly sure this type of Japanese maple. There are so many, but whatever this one is, it is looking fantastic. Then they've got their hummingbird feeders up here on the eave, or not the eave, but the top of the pergola. Hummingbirds are just, I mean, they add so much to a garden. And I was telling Tina, when I lived in California, I had about, you know, this is a decade, not a decade ago, I guess it's almost been 10 years now, but had about 30 hummingbirds that would visit at one time. And I'll never forget it. And out here in the South, we have maybe 2 or 3 at a time, but I still love them. Give me 1, give me 2, give me 30, whatever. I love them. And then here is a long shot of the garden from this vantage point, and you can see how it kind of looks when they step out on their back patio. There is another bird bath here in the center on the opposite side of that little Japanese maple. And then she's got some different things planted around it at the bottom. And there's also another piece of garden art behind it. It is a little mushroom right back there. And then I love the creeping Jenny, how it repeats back here because it really ties everything together. And like Tina said, it really cuts down on the mulch that you have to use. And that is a common theme when people design gardens. You know, they'll talk about the ground cover plants and how important they are. And I am slowly adding those to my garden, especially in my full sun gardens. They really cut down on the mulch. They cut down on the weeds. They cut down on the cardboard or contractor's paper like I use and all of that good stuff. And then here's another little trellis structure. This little green one blends in really nice. The cosmos are setting that off so well. And then on the right side, we have this white coneflower. And I was telling Tina, I haven't seen the white coneflower out anywhere yet at the big box stores. I've seen the purple and a little bit of the purple, but more of the reds and the yellow. Behind her coneflower, she has some potted hibiscus. And they have used zoysia grass is what you're seeing. So if any of you are curious, that is what that is. And they also recently redid their patio I have another shot of it coming up their patio with some tile that looks like stone. We actually did that to our front porch too, and it looks so good. I love what they've done. She's got some geraniums there at the top. They always look nice in hanging baskets. Gerber daisies down here at the bottom in the same color scheme, so that red is really pulled in, and I bet you the hummingbirds appreciate that too. And then we're gonna pan around one more time. You just can't get enough of this garden, you know? And I'm gonna show you what she's done here on the far side. So there's a wind chime we just passed, but on the far side back here, they have this really narrow area that gets pretty much full shade. And so they put down mondo grass and these broken pavers in between. And they did a great job, because this is an area that they needed to find a solution for how to deal with it. And mondo grass doesn't mind the shade. It keeps any amount of sogginess down, you know, so you can walk easily. And they still have the creeping Jenny there where they've got some light. This little turtle, it almost looks real. What a sweet piece of garden art. And you can see what I'm talking about, how they have really just created a big garden room where it just blocks out all of the outside world. They can come back here after work or on the weekends and just enjoy what they have created. And it really looks different every couple months, you know, as things grow in. And I'm actually thankful that I got to see this garden in June. And even though I missed seeing it back in May, it has really grown in so much more. And I think that we were really here with perfect timing. I hope that you guys enjoyed this garden tour as much as I did. They are incredible people and incredible gardeners. I love getting to meet different gardeners, you know, through my own journey here on the channel, and getting to share with you what these guys have created. And, you know, they inspire me. I hope that it inspires you as well. And I look forward to seeing you guys all back here in the next video, right here at the Real Southern Garden.